We need more chairs.
Okay, here's a dime. Okay, they will tell you that gold and silver are an impossible replacement for the U.S. dollar. Okay, if this was a pre-64 dime made out of silver, this is worth about $1 if it was a pre-64 dime. Silver, $1 would become a dime. If you made this out of gold, a piece of gold about this big is worth $100. So for that pocket full of change, if we went back under a hard money system, his pocket full of change, he'd be carrying a couple $1,000s in his pocket right now if it was real gold and silver. The Federal Reserve System with paper money is very wasteful. How long do you think a paper dollar lasts going through the system?
18 months.
Paper dollar usually burns up in about 9 months. Going hand to hand to hand, it wears out. The banks pull them back, they burn them. Okay, dimes, all the pre-64 dimes got collected by people like me because we realized they were worth something. But there's a lot of 65 dimes floating around. So imagine if they minted the coins instead of printing the dollars. That dollar would now still be good 45 years later because it takes so much more to wear this out than a piece of paper. So what are you going to replace it with? You can go to gold and silver. You can go to some other type of asset-backed currency. For your smaller denominations, you can actually do copper. Some countries over there use aluminum for their pennies. But there is a replacement. Just do a one-for-one, kind of peg approximately what gold and silver is. Congress can do what they're supposed to do. Say, this is what $1's worth. And that's done.
There's so many alternatives out there that to be investigated. We've just been raised on this Federal Reserve note. And I have fun with people at checkout counters. I take my Federal Reserve note and I put a circle around the Federal Reserve seal and put a cross through it. 5s and 10s and 20s. And half the time somebody goes, why'd you do that? And I say, do you accept Federal Reserve notes here? And the girl behind me goes, what's that? And I point to the top of the $20 bill. It says Federal Reserve note. And she goes, I've never noticed that before. I mean, all day long, she's handling this stuff and never even thinks about it. So it's just an awareness thing, and that's one of the, it's starting to bubble. Ron Paul has been fighting it for 30 years. His audit the Fed has gained a lot of strength. This is a foundational thing on the macro level, if you will, that we espouse, and we hope that you will learn more about. We don't have a silver bullet answer for Iowa. North Dakota has a state-owned bank that's not backed by the FDIC and is profitable to tunes of $300 million a year. They're doing great things in North Dakota. There's plenty of alternatives. We're starting local, guys. We'll get to the point where we have good ideas throughout the whole state, especially with John Carson's running. The other macro thing is corporate and individual welfare. Corporate welfare, personal welfare. We're not for that. We're not for that.
Law. If you read the state constitution, once again.
It's just
not allowed to assume debts or pay for any individual, association, corporation. There's a whole list. It's just illegal.
Ron Paul wrote a book
illegal.
called Revolution, a manifesto, and in the preface of it he talks about loot. And he says, what government does is they take loot. They take from him and give to him. That's all. That's what they do. They just take from one and give to the other. And that's just loot. And it's just gifting themselves from the Treasury to grow the welfare and the warfare state, which is the next one. Illegal, bankrupting wars. Are we against wars? I am.
How about illegal immigration?
That's a fair concern. This group is for it because being concerned about illegal immigration. Sure, we should have it on the table. Absolutely.
Going back to corporate welfare, the thing with that, this is something, we've been trained to think of corporations as legal persons. They're not. Corporations are a group of other people who got special rights that you and I as individuals don't have.
Chartered by the state.
They're chartered by the state. So instead of giving, they give up their rights to have a business, to have a privilege to have a corporation. And by doing that, they get protected from liability. if you or I go out and do something irresponsible, we're sued. They can take our house, they can take our car, they can take our retirement savings. A corporation does that. The people who have this special protection in the corporation, they just lose the corporation, but they still have their house, they still have their car. You know, BP is a prime example. Nothing will happen to them.
Yeah, but that also subjects the corporation under the thumb of the people through their state. So the corporation is under the regulations of the state.
So it
Private
prevents-
citizen is not actually supposed to be under those types of regulations because they're free.
So the reason there's no lawsuit reform that protects people, the reason there's no liability limits, nothing that protects us from lawsuits, is because the corporations are protecting their vested interests. They can't let us have the special right that they've got.
So is there anybody here that wants to add anything else with this? What we're actually asking to put on that, who we are, what we support or don't support, are these things listed here and for national state issues, those things right there. Is there anything else to add or take off? Or
What do you consider an illegal warrant?
The Constitution, the federal Constitution is specific on that a war needs to be declared by the House and the Senate, by the General Assembly, the federal government. The executive branch does not have the power, nor should it have the power based on actual political philosophy, things like that, to declare war or to even go to war whenever they decide. The executive branch specifically is to follow the orders of the General Assembly. So if the General Assembly decides we're going to go to war, then they do what's called an official declaration of war. That puts us in a state of war, and they have to name who. It's kind of like it all goes down all the way back to the basic fundamental things. If you're charged with a crime, an official crime has to be stated, and essentially the state is at war with you. Here are the charges, here are the evidence against you, and it's official, it's on record. If you don't have that as a nation, and you have an executive branch that can just decide when and where to go to war, you have no controls to prevent them from always going to war. And the executive branch, especially in the federal government, that is your commander-in-chief. And there's an old philosophy from Aristotle that said, a nation with a general as their leader that can determine when and where will be a nation that is always at war. The only way to put a nation in a position where they will always only go to war when absolutely necessary in defense is to have those who are going to be fighting the war determine if they're going to go to war. And we have that system in place by having our elected representatives that are directly responsible to us, that we directly elect, make that determination of a declaration of war. And they have to make their claim they have to make their statement to the people saying, we need to have a declaration of war. These are the reasons. This is the crime against us. You know, that way it's just not for whatever other reason that might occur, because we fall in the dangerous zone of
The bankruptcy word that I have, even for
Okay.
expensive as bankruptcy, and I don't disagree with the platform. There should be a formal declaration
Right.
brought by the proper branches for the president to act on a large scale war. The bankruptcy thing has a anti-war annotation to it that
Right.
bothers me. It has more of a leftist feel to it.
Sure.
Because I believe there's firmly positions in times when we have to go to war to defend ourselves.
Well, obviously.
And we need to do that.
The reason I put that in was that the existing wars render bankrupt in this.
Yeah, but it's,
Well,
But-
sure, but if we didn't have a buffer,
Wars of
or
oppression.
stuff going on, we may have plenty of money, you know.
undeclared wars. That's what we had originally.